מזמור לדוד. אדוני ראוי לו אחסר, בינו דשא ירביצני, עמי מנוחות ינהלני, נפשי ישובב ינחני ומגלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא המוות, לא ירא רע כי אתה עמדי. שבטך משענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי, דשן טוב השמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים.
Psalm 23, a psalm of David. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want, giving me repose in green meadows, leading me beside the still waters to revive my spirit, guiding me on the right path, for that is God's essence. Though I walk through a valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever. Psalm 15, a psalm of David. Do we deserve to enter God's sanctuary? Can we merit a place in the presence of God? Live with integrity, do what is right, speak the truth without deceit. Have no slander upon your tongue, do no evil to others, do not mistreat your neighbor. Spurn a contemptible person, but honor those who revere Adonai. Never retract a promise once made, though it may bring you harm. Lend no money at unfair rates, accept no bribe against the innocent. Make these deeds your own, then shall you stand firm forever. And in the last chapter of the book of Proverbs, we read, Eshet chayil mi yimtza, v'rachok mipninim michra, batach ba lev ba'ala v'shalal lo yechsar. What a precious find is an Eshet chayil, a woman of valor. Her worth is far beyond rubies. Her husband puts his confidence in her and lacks no good thing. She is good to him, never bad, all the days of her life. She opens her hand to the needy and extends her hand to the poor. She is clothed with strength and splendor. She looks to the future cheerfully. She opens her mouth with wisdom. Her tongue is guided by kindness. She oversees the activities of her household and never eats the bread of idleness. Her children come forward and bless her. Her husband praises her and says, "Many women have done superbly, but you surpass them all." Charm is deceitful and beauty vain, but a God-revering woman is much to be praised. Extol her for the fruit of her hand. Wherever people gather, her deeds speak her praise. Ribono shel olam, Master of the universe, Creator of heaven, earth, man, and woman, be gracious to your children who mourn. May the light of your presence dispel the gloom of absence so keenly felt on this sad day. Bless them with your compassion, empower them with your love, touch them with the fullness of your heart, that they may be granted inner peace. Was it not you who said, "Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will sustain you with my power." As we remember the blessings in the life of Yehudit Bat Abraham Yitzchak V'Shifra of Edith Rashewsky, we ask you, Eternal One, to remember your promise to us, and let us say, Amen. We have several people who are going to come forward and share some thoughts and memories of Edith, beginning with Edith's oldest grandchild, beginning with Joey Knapp.
Grandma E was always so smiling and so endearing. She was just the smartest woman I've ever met and the best grandmother you could ever have. She was intuitive. She always knew what we all needed to hear and just said it. She was blunt. She was direct, but she said it with care. I never can recall her ever getting mad. She was just so nice. I feel her time here was an amazing history through the years. The house on Deming in Grand Rapids was her home, and I always remember her cooking and enjoyable recipes, even though I really don't think she liked being in the kitchen. But we always had a full house for the holidays, and the high holidays and Passover Seder. Judaism was really important to her and our family. I think she wanted everyone in her life to be happy and well. I remember just last week when I saw her on a FaceTime, and she was smiling and happy and asking all great questions about my life. We really have a great family, and we were truly lucky to have the love and support that everyone is here for my grandma. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And two more grandchildren coming up together, Stephanie Jessen and Jennifer Cohen.
For those that don't know me, I'm Stephanie. I'm second, the first oldest granddaughter.
I'm Jennifer. I think I'm actually the fourth.
Yeah, Jennifer's the fourth. Thank you all for being here today to celebrate the incredible life of our beloved grandmother, who I, like so many of you, was lucky enough to call Grandma E. Grandma E was a force, an unshakable presence filled with intelligence, style, generosity, and love. She had a way of filling every room she entered, not with loudness, but with a quiet grace, warmth, an unmistakable sparkle that was all her own. You could always spot her colorful personality in a crowd, not just by her bold fashion choices. You probably saw her in her leopard prints, lime greens, purples. She loved her colors, but because her presence was magnetic. She made everyone feel like they were the most important person in the world, no matter who they were. Throughout her life, Grandma E wore many hats: mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, aunt, friend, teacher, store owner, and matriarch. And in each of these roles, she brought the same energy, humor, and passion. She was the mother of 3, grandmother to 5, great-grandmother to 9, and a friend to countless people from all walks of life. I can say without a doubt that each of us felt special in her presence. Her love was boundless, unconditional, and never diminished by the number of people in her life. In fact, it only grew. And speaking of growth, Grandma E was a woman ahead of her time. She entered the University of Michigan at just 16 years old, at a time when women didn't often attend college, let alone start at such a young age. While most teenagers were focused on driving, she was building the foundation for the accomplished life she would go on to lead. She embraced her intellect and her strength and always knew her own power. In fact, I remember her telling me that when the time came, she wanted all women pallbearers at her funeral because she knew she was outliving all the men. That was Grandma E, a fierce advocate for strong, smart women and for living life fully. But what truly set her apart beyond her intelligence and accomplishments was her sense of family. Grandma E made being Jewish feel like the heartbeat of our family. Oh, sorry. For her, being Jewish wasn't just about rituals and traditions. It was about connection, community, and above all, family. And nowhere was that more evident than at the Passover Seders, as Joey mentioned. Those Seders were legendary. We had our own YA table, not for young adults, but for the little ones who wanted to feel grown up. And Grandma E made sure we did. She always made us feel like we were a part of something much larger, like our voices, our questions, and our presence mattered. It wasn't about the food, though we all know her brisket and matzo ball soup were the best. It was about the meaning behind it all. Grandma E took the time to teach us the importance of the traditions, to help us understand the stories of our people, to make us laugh with silly songs and sometimes even with inappropriate words, although that might have been instigated more by Aunt Shelley. And as anyone who attended will tell you, there's no Seder like our Seder, or in Grandma E's, it would be, there's no Seder like Grandma E's Seder. Family was always at the heart of the Rashewsky home, and the legacy continues today with Lisa, who now lovingly hosts the Seders. But the bond between Grandma E and Lisa was something particularly special. Lisa, as Grandma's baby, shared a connection with her that was both deep and unique. Grandma was never shy about expressing what she wanted or expected. In fact, just a few days ago, she even told Lisa that she wanted Lisa to darken her hair. But their bond went beyond words. Lisa had a remarkable ability to sense exactly what Grandma needed, even when she couldn't articulate it. Whether it was ensuring our holiday gatherings ran smoothly or finding the most comfortable clothes, and Lisa would have to buy her 5 pairs of pants or maybe even more to figure that out, picking out a new book that she would like, making sure that someone came to do Grandma's hair or nails, offering a gentle touch, or just being there in the quiet moments. Lisa always made sure Grandma felt cared for and never alone. The love between them was unwavering, and it provided Grandma with a sense of peace and comfort.
The bond of unwavering connection is also what defined the strength of Grandma E's relationships, particularly with her sisters, Sylvia and Ethel. Their sisterhood was extraordinary and powerful, built over decades of laughter and love and support, remaining strong via sweet phone calls and FaceTime, despite the distance between them. For me, the love and camaraderie Grandma E shared with her sisters has been a beautiful example of sisterhood and a model for the connection between Lisa and Shelley and the relationship I have with Stephanie and the one we want for our own children. This legacy of love will live on for generations to come. The only thing that came second to Grandma E's love for family and Judaism was her active social life. She was the most social person you could imagine, always on the go. It became more clear to me as I became an adult and a parent how distinctly unique that was. To have a social circle as broad and great as Grandma E's. She took exercise classes, played bingo, had book clubs, mahjong. She was always reading her favorite novels. Her calendar was like a summer camp, filled with plans and activities. She is the only 96-year-old that had a birthday party where literally hundreds of people turned out to celebrate her. All of the children still talk about her party as if it was the best birthday party they have ever been to, better than any of their friends. Even when Grandma was alone in her room, she stayed social and connected. Grandma E was on Facebook. She was the first to know what was going on in everyone's lives, even before I did. She didn't just like posts, she commented on things, she shared stories. Sometimes she would call me and ask before I knew anything that was going on. She had a gift for making everyone feel seen, heard, and valued. And of course, we cannot forget Grandma E's signature style. If you were lucky enough, or your children or great children, to receive a monogrammed towel, you knew you were really loved. When she found something she liked, she bought it in all colors. And when we were at a family gathering or hanging out, or when she was at her store at Mitchell's, she always looked like she was ready for fun. Her hair done, her nails painted, lipstick on. Every day was an opportunity to dress to impress, and trust me, she did. And even last week, she jokingly called herself a cougar after noticing a handsome young man at Heather Hills. It wasn't just about how she looked, though she always looked beautiful. It was about how she made other people feel. She had snacks and candy ready for you when you visited, and all of the great-grandkids knew that she kept ice cream in her freezer waiting for them as soon as they got there. And she always made sure that she made everyone feel like royalty.
One of my favorite memories will always be when Grandma E came to visit me in Boston while I was in dental school. She flew across the country by herself, which was a big feat for her, dealt with a canceled flight, and even had to sleep at the airport. Once she arrived, she navigated the T, which for those that don't know, that's the Boston subway, with me. And she would sometimes make this, like when she was being nervous. So we heard a few of those, but she did well. She did go on the T. She met all of my friends and made them feel like they had known her forever. Her ability to connect with people was nothing short of remarkable. It didn't matter if they were my 20-something friends, a random stranger, or anyone who crossed her path. She always made them feel like family. In the end, Grandma E wasn't just a grandmother. She was an inspiration. She lived each day with wonder, approaching life with a belief that every day was an opportunity to be the best version of yourself, whether that meant being with family, pursuing an education, learning something new, challenging yourself, or simply laughing with friends. She lived a life full of joy, love, family, education, and faith. Grandma E, we will carry your legacy with us, your wisdom, your strength, your laughter, your sisterhood, and yes, your style. Thank you for everything you taught us, especially about what it means to be a member of the Rashewsky family. We will miss you beyond words, but we know you're watching over us, ensuring we continue to live life the way you always did, loving our family and friends. We love you always.
Stephanie, Jennifer, those were beautiful words. Thank you. Rabbi Elliot Pachter is speaking on behalf of the larger family group, the nephew speaker.
Hello, everyone. So I want to say a few words about my Aunt Edith, who I also, like everyone here, really loved, and the Rashewsky family. Some of my memories of the house on Deming. I don't ever remember my Aunt Edith cooking, because I lived in the era of Grandma Minnie, who ran the kitchen. But we had our own earlier generation of family seders and holiday meals together, and the same joy. And so many other memories we do share. I also, just thinking about what you said about sisters, so the first Mitchell had 2 sisters, but then all male first cousins. The new Mitchell has lots and lots of sisters, even more coming, and only female first cousins. Wow, a little different. So I loved being at the Rashewsky house. We were there just like every Sunday for holidays I mentioned, saw them at the synagogue. Sometimes I would play with my cousins, with Larry and Shelley and Lisa. We were playing cards at the kitchen table. But when I was really little, I was somebody who didn't mind playing by myself. And I loved to go down to the Rashewsky basements. And it was just like a treasure chest of things for an inquisitive little kid. I'm not sure if they were using these things anymore, but they were like old toys and games, exercise machines. And I remember just one time Aunt Edith came down and said, "Are you okay?" I was just having a great time. I also, of course, remember her, as I mentioned, from Shul, and Havas Israel is just a big part of our family. When we were younger, my brother Larry is here, and we were very much regulars. When we were teenagers here at Havas Israel, our families long moved away, but the Rashewskys, and especially Aunt Edith, were just regulars here. And this is a place that has a lot of meaning to us. Some of our second cousins are here today as well, and we know that our great-grandfather, Louis Kleiman, had a great role in the forming of Havas Israel, the old building, that our Grandpa Abe's family is remembered through the chapel, the benches in the chapel, the old chapel, and as well as a memory here too. And again, it just means a lot to us. I also was thinking about the changes in the Rashewsky family and how now with Aunt Edith's passing, Lisa, you're the one, where is Lisa? Right in front of me. Yeah, Lisa's the one member from that family that was such a part of our life. And yeah, and my mom is the one member of the Altman family, which was a big family in town, a big part of our history. So Grandma Sophie used to say, among other things, in her wisdom, "My 3 daughters make a great pair." An interest. Three make a great pair. Grandma Sophie always called my aunt Edith. And I didn't understand that. And then my brother Mike, who I think is watching the service, he figured it out. He said her Hebrew name must be Yehudis. And so Grandma called her Edith, not Edith. Yehudis, if you know, Yehudit simply means a Jewish woman. And that really, as you've already heard, describes Aunt Edith. The other thing that Grandma Sophie used to say, what did she say about Edith? She's good-hearted. That was her line. Yet Edith is so good-hearted. I never heard that expression except describing my Aunt Edith, and that was her. And the things you've heard described. When I had an opportunity to speak when she turned 90 back in 2018, and I remember at that time, I shared the same comment, and I did a little Google search of Edith Rashewsky, And her name shows up in such places as the Grand Rapids Women's Chorus. She was a giver. Autism Support of Kent County, Van Andel Museum. She just was somebody who liked to help other people. She also shows up as there was a story done about the Alger Heights neighborhood, and she was very proud of her neighborhood. I was going to talk about the bath towels, but it's already been said. I'm the only one in my family who I lost my towel. It was my last night in an apartment I was living in, and I took a shower, and I left my towel, and I left, and that's the one thing I forgot. So that was my towel, but the rest of the family, we still have the rest have their towels. She was very kind, and she shared with me that I did not know that my grandfather, who died just before my bar mitzvah, had said some nice words about me. He took pride in me, and she said he knew that you would be the rabbi. But she was also very honest, very direct. I once was talking about my son Jonathan, also watching this from afar, and I said, they tell me that Jonathan looks like me. What do you think? And she said, he's cuter than you. One of my greatest memories of my aunt is that when I was going into third grade, it was a big deal back in those days. I don't know if it's still a big deal. We got a big package in the mail like you'd get for school, but this was for Hebrew school. And it told us who are the teachers for this coming year at Ahavas Israel. I was coming to third grade. Yeah, Larry's nodding. And Larry was the one who always told me everything. He said, Aunt Edith is your Sunday school teacher this year. And I was like in heaven. It was just amazing. And I remember the first day, she said, everybody's going to call me Mrs. Rashewsky. What would you like to call me? And I said, if it's okay, can I call you Aunt Edith? And she permitted that. I want to say, speaking of that I want to just say a word of Torah. This week, we begin the book of Exodus. Every year, we go around and we come back to this book, the book of Shemot. And this is largely about the emergence of Moses, of Moshe, who would be the greatest leader in Jewish history. Moshe is born, grows up, and then of course we learn more about him. But if you read the story, it's a story about women. And it's about women who saved the life of Moshe and ultimately saved the lives of the Jewish people. Moses' mother and his sister figure out a way to keep him alive, to hide him so that he won't be killed. Then there's, of course, Pharaoh had ordered the midwives to kill any Israelite child who was born who was a male. And there were two midwives who stood up, who protested, silently but firmly protested, and they didn't kill the male children. And their names were Shifra and Puah. Shifra is a big name in our family. Shifra is Grandma Sophie's name, and it must be Stephanie's name too, because Stephanie's named for Grandma Sophie. And I identify this story with Aunt Edith because she was a strong woman who faced a lot of obstacles. Uncle Melvin died much too young. Mitch and Shelley died. She had other difficult situations that she had to go through and a lot of physical challenges recently. And to the end, she was determined to live and to go on. She never gave up. And she reminds me of the spirit of those women that we read about this week. I think it's a very appropriate time. Also, as I said, the women of Shemot, they ensured a future for the Jewish people. And look what Edith has done. Together with Uncle Melvin's help, the children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and in this group of children and grandchildren, great-grandchildren, that Aunt Edith saw to it that her past of Judaism would go on. She's got another Abe and another Sophie. We hope and pray that Grandma E, that Aunt Edith, that Yehudit, Bat, Avram Yitzhak, Shifra, is rewarded for the life that she has lived, for the good deeds that she has performed, that her soul be reunited with the souls of those dear departed who were such a part of her life, and she will be rewarded with goodness, with eternal rest and eternal peace. And we say, Amen.
Thank you, Elliot. As far as I can tell, Edith was the last of a particular generation within our Jewish community. The last person who had a direct connection to World War II through marriage to a veteran. I could be wrong, there could be somebody I'm not thinking of, but I think this is the passing of that generation within our community. The passing of a, as we've heard, beloved, cherished matriarch of a family. She was a profoundly grateful person. And I have a little piece of liturgy and a little piece of Torah just to give you one more connection as we remember Edith. She was thankful for those more than 96 years of life that God gave her, and she had a prayer reflecting this that she said every day. The prayer goes like this, part of the very early morning prayers in our Siddur. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who fashions the human body in wisdom, creating openings, arteries, glands, and organs, marvelous in structure and intricate in design. Should but one of them fail to function by being blocked or opened, it would be impossible to exist. Blessed are you, Adonai, healer of all flesh, sustaining our bodies in wondrous ways. And I want to share, as I said, one small piece of Torah in this week's Torah reading. Moses gazed, and there was a bush, a flame. Yet the bush was not consumed. Moses said, I must turn aside to look at this marvelous sight. Why doesn't the bush burn up? So I want you to consider this verse. Consider this. There is, in fact, nothing marvelous about a burning bush. You see it, it's a bush, it's on fire. That's nothing special. Except if you pay attention, if you really see it, you'll notice over time, you have to put some time into this, that the fire is not consuming the bush. You don't see that right away. You have to devote yourself to this task of looking at the fire, looking at the bush. And then, only then does it become marvelous. You have to care enough about this bush to give it your full attention. Now here's Edith. Most of us meet new people and immediately forget their name. We see someone we don't know and we look past them. We have acquaintances, but we keep in touch sporadically. Edith was different. People met Edith and felt connected to her. Edith was a people magnet. Why? Because she knew their names, because she cared about them, because she paid attention to the people around her. She nurtured that flame of friendship. She was rarely alone for long. Her room had a steady stream of visitors. She was on the phone, keeping in touch with old friends and new friends. We heard about the weekly video call with her sister Sylvia, and there were so many more people that Edith kept in touch with. And that crowd of people at her 96th birthday party, that astounding crowd of people, Edith was that person that people loved because she turned aside and noticed them. She turned aside to pay attention to them. And what a marvelous lesson for us. Now, I can imagine that when Edith left our world, there was a crowd on the other side waiting to greet her. Waiting for her were Melvin and Mitch and Shelley and her sister Beth and her parents and her grandparents and a whole generation of other friends and relatives. And that is what I believe without any evidence or proof. But I believe nonetheless, because I can't believe that a loving God would ever let Edith be alone without her friends. May the memory of Yehudit bat Abraham Yitzchak v'Shifra Zichrona Livracha remain with us as a blessing. Tehi nishmata tzurura b'tzura chaim. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life eternal. And we say, Amen. Following the service, the burial will be at the Greenwood Cemetery, 1373 Leonard Street, Northwest. After that, there will be a Seudat Habra'ah, a meal of consolation, back here at Ahavas Israel. There will be Shiva Minyanim this afternoon after that meal, and Lisa will continue with Shiva Minyanim on Sunday morning at her home, 2125 San Luray Southeast, Sunday morning at 9:30, Sunday evening at 7 o'clock, and Monday morning at 7:30. Please rise for the El Malei Rachamim Memorial Prayer.
El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Ametzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina B'ma'alot Kedoshim Utehorim Kezohara Mazhirim Et Nishmat Aisha Yehudit Bat Avraham Yitzchak v'Shifra Shalacha le'olamah Began Eden tehei menuchatom Ano balarachamim Astireho b'seter Kinafecho le'olamim Utzeror, bitzeror achayim et nishmata, Adonai hu nachlata, v'tanuach b'shalom amishkavam, v'nomar, Amen.
Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Edith Rashewsky, of Yehudit Bat Abraham Yitzchak B'Shifra, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. Pallbearers, please come forward.